Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Live Interview Wednesday. I'm so excited that you guys are here. I'm really excited to bring on our guests, but before we get started, I want to just go into the comments and see who's all here. If you have not posted in chat, make sure you do so we can say hello to you. We have Linda first, who's here with Daisy. I'm glad you guys are both here, and I saw that you had pressed your thumbs up button too. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that. Stephanie, good morning from Dallas. I'm so excited you're here. And Kelly from Minnesota. Awesome. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And Laura, oh my goodness, it's been a while. I'm so glad you're here. It's good to see you. I hope everything's going okay for you. And Kathy, good morning. It's good to see you here as well. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right on in because I know you guys are all excited about having an interview today. So I'm just going to bring Danny on. This is Danny Mize. I'm going to make sure I say it right. Danny Mize of Knitty Gritty Fiber Arts. I'm really excited to have him here. So good morning. Thanks for coming.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah. So excited. So we're just going to jump right on in. Oh, I should mention, you guys, you see the scrolling down at the bottom. Make sure that you, oops, wrong screen. Make sure that if you have a question for Danny or for me, type a Q, a space, and then your question, and I'll scoop those up. I'll try to ask them as time progresses, but most of them will probably be at the end of the show. Laura says, hello, Danny. So that's good.
Hey, Laura.
To see people here. Okay, so we're going to get started with, tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, your family, where you live, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. So, again, Danny Mize, owner of Knitty Gritty Fiber Arts, and we live in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, which is between Albuquerque and Santa Fe. So about 45 minutes south of Santa Fe, and live here with my wife and our 3 kids and our dog. we have a hunting dog, a wire-haired pointing Griffon, and yeah, that's us. So we've been here in Albuquerque area for about a year and 3 months, but we both grew up in Colorado. So my family is kind of from the Montrose, Telluride area in Colorado, and but my wife and I both grew up kind of south of Denver. So that was home for us, and we moved down here about like I said, a year and 3 months ago for work, transferred with my company to come down here.
Okay. So are you a knitter, crocheter, both? How did you learn?
I am a knitter. I'm a knitter and hoping to learn how to crochet here because I get so many questions about it. So
I bet you do.
I got to start finding some answers.
I bet you do. Now, how did you learn to knit?
I learned to knit when I lived in Germany. So when I was 20, so back in 2007 to 2009, I lived in Germany. I was a missionary for my church out there for 2 years, and one of the things I learned quickly about Germany is tons of people knit. You know, every woman in Germany knits. There's a knitting shop on every single corner, and the big thing that they do is they knit socks. They knit a lot of socks, and so I'd always wanted to learn how to do that, and I thought, how cool would it be to send my mom a pair of socks from Germany that I knit myself. And it was a good way also just to build relationships with the members at church. And so we started going every week to the knitting group that met at church, and they taught us how to knit socks. And that's the first thing I ever made was a pair of socks, and sent those home to my mom, and been doing that ever since. So about 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So are knitting socks your favorite thing to knit these days, or do you have other?
I don't knit as many socks now. I knit stuff for my kids. So baby sweaters, kids sweaters, hats, blankets, and then stuff for my wife. So, you know.
Awesome. Okay. So before we talk about dyeing, I want to talk about, we have a giveaway for everybody. So Danny, I'm going to have you go ahead. I'm going to put you on solo and have you talk about what we're giving away today.
Yeah, so giveaway today is going to be a brand new product for us. So we just started making mini skein gradient sets. And so actually I'll walk around the room here because they're on the other side of the room. And I'll let whoever the winner is, I'll let them pick which one they like the best. But in a few of our colorways, we started making gradient skeins. So these are 100 grams each total, right? So each little mini skein is 20 grams of yarn. So for a total about 440 yards. And we've got those currently in our Hawaiian hibiscus, North Shore teal, Rosy Mountain paintbrush, blue algae, and our Calliope hummingbird colorways. But if there's some other colors on there they like, I'll let them request anything and I'll make it for them. So they'll get 5 mini skeins in either our sock weight or our worsted weight.
Well, you got a lot of comments saying that these are beautiful and they're so excited. It's on your sock weight, you said.
I'll do it if they want. If they prefer worsted, I can do it in the worsted, but it's that fingering or sock weight, or in a worsted weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys get a choice. So if you're interested, go ahead and show those. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I've got them in the worsted weight compared to that fingering weight. So if they prefer a worsted weight, we've got those.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So if you would like to enter to win a mini skein set, I'm going to put it up on the screen here, guys. Hang on. You're going to type in #gritty. I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a couple seconds here. And we have a question already about the mini skeins. Kelly wants to know if they are already up on your site.
They are not on the site yet. I finished dyeing those yesterday. So they're not on the site. We got those. We'll be debuting those primarily at H&H Americas in Chicago next week. But I'll get them up on the website hopefully before next Tuesday. Okay.
There's your answer, Kelly. All right. Now I also saw Judy from Canada is here. Her first question, as always, do you ship to Canada? Yes, he does. So you can enter, Judy. So go ahead and enter. Awesome. Okay, so I see a lot of people posting. Oh, and Kelly's excited about seeing them on her website, on your website. Okay, I'm going to take that off screen now and put us back on. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about why did you start dyeing yarn?
So longer story, I guess, but it's not something I ever pictured doing. The last 10 years I've been in the funeral profession, and so I've been in sales in the funeral world. So most recently as a sales director for a national funeral company, and so my sales team primarily helps people plan ahead, 20, 30, 40 years ahead, prepay for funeral costs and cemetery costs and everything. But in that process, you meet a lot of folks who've gone through difficult times or are preparing to go through difficult times, losing a loved one. And, when I started doing that, when I was, 10 years ago, I was 26 years old, and I'd never truly experienced that. I'd lost a grandma when I was 14, but, I hadn't, as an adult, had to ever navigate that process myself. And it was a long time in the funeral profession until I did. And when I did have to do that myself, it was, my wife and I had 2 kids, and we were planning a third, and we ended up losing our baby at about 12 weeks. And so we had a miscarriage, and I never expected that would hit us as hard as it did. And so, it took us a while to kind of recalibrate and decide that we weren't quite done. Our family wasn't full. And so we tried again, and we ended up having another miscarriage a little bit later in pregnancy this time. And then we decided we really were done. And then about a year and a half later, we decided, it just didn't feel complete. And so we got pregnant again, and everything went really well until, we ended up in the hospital. My wife was about 26 weeks along, and we ended up having giving birth to our daughter but it was stillbirth. And so we lost her. And when we went into the hospital that day, that's not anything that we expected. So we weren't prepared. We didn't have anything to dress her in. We didn't have anything for her. And so we were lucky enough to have some kind people in Colorado who had donated, sewed baby dresses, and knit and crocheted hats and blankets. And so we had something to dress her in and get her ready, because my friends at the funeral home were going to come pick her up and take her into their care. And we wanted her to look nice for that, and take pictures with her and spend as much time as we could. And so we were so blessed by those people who had donated those things that I decided, this was a couple years ago, November 21. So not quite 2 years, but we decided I wanted to do that for other people. I wanted to be able to bring that blessing to other people as well, but I wanted to do it a little bit special. So I decided I would start dyeing yarn to make baby hats, and I would donate those to the hospital to make it a little extra special. So not necessarily preemie hats or newborn hats, but more along the lines of burial clothing for people who lose babies. And so that's what we do. We started doing that, and so we crank out a bunch of these. We donate a baby hat for every 5 skeins of yarn that we sell. And they're made with our hand dyed yarn, and they're delivered to hospitals all over the country. So if anybody has a hospital near them that they think could benefit, that would be great. Hospitals don't need a ton of these, so we like to spread them out as much as we can to different places around the country. But that's how we got started. So I started doing that, and then I think naturally when you start to dye yarn, you end up with way more than you could ever use or give away. And so decided to start selling it. And so through our blog that I had, and our YouTube channel, decided to leverage that into starting an online shop. So nittygrittyfiberarts.com, and started selling the yarn on that. And that was we didn't start doing that until back in February this year. So February this year, we launched our website, and in April we went to our first event in Colorado, which was the Interweave Yarn Fest, and where I met Karen. And
Yeah.
That was an in-person event, and it was incredible. The people in the fiber community and the knitting and crochet and weaving, everyone was so supportive, and we did way better than we ever could have imagined, and came home and decided maybe we should see where this can take us, and launched our wholesale program and tried to start getting into some local yarn shops and building our website presence. And a couple weeks ago, I was able to give notice at my job, and tomorrow's my last day in the funeral profession, and we'll be doing our hand-dyed yarn business full time. So
that is so exciting. I think that's so amazing that you get to leave your full-time job to do this. And as someone who's done it, I think it's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I just saw a post come in. We've got a couple people who have posted. They're rough to know and hard until you experienced it. Mm-hmm. And then Laura says, amazing that you turned something heartbreaking into something positive. And I have to agree with that. Your story is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, is because when I got home from Loveland, I went to your website immediately and read your story. And I was like, these are the kind of people I want to work with. And I was so excited that you're willing to share your story, first of all, and that you were able to turn it into something positive. Now, you said you have 3 kids. So when was your last one born?
So we have a almost 4-month-old. Let's see, today's the 14th. So on the 20th, we'll have a 4-month-old.
That's wonderful.
Yep. So
that's wonderful.
Had a rocky start with him, spent a couple weeks in the NICU, but we ended up making it home, and everything's wonderful now. He's been checked out with cardiologists and all that, and everything's
wonderful.
So we have our 4-month-old Jeremiah, so boy, and then I've got a 7-year-old daughter, Brooklyn, and we have a 9-year-old son named Thatcher.
Wonderful. My grandson, I mentioned to you before we went live, my grandson will be 1 next week, or Thursday, tomorrow, his first birthday. And he was a NICU baby also. He was born 5 weeks early. So
Yeah.
I know how that can be. And well, you probably didn't have the pandemic issues that the guy did. So I couldn't see him until he came home.
Not
Yeah.
quite. No, no, not as serious. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've seen a bunch more posts here. Hang on. The colors on your side are so beautiful. How awesome this see, I told you they're gonna love this story. Um, Judy said it's inspirational and makes the person want to support your company. Um, Tiny steps are still forward progress. Congratulations. A beautiful rainbow baby. I have one as well. I do too. I do too. So yeah, so that's such a beautiful story. Okay, so let's talk about how you learned to dye yarn.
Oh, how I learned. So I am a huge YouTube fan. And if there's anything, I mean, nowadays, if there's anything I want to learn, I start pretty much with YouTube. So I went on YouTube and started watching a bunch of videos. Um, I feel bad. I should know the names of everybody, but obviously Felicia Lowe with Sweet Georgia Yarns was a
Yeah.
huge help. I took her course and still subscribe to her course. It was such a good foundation to be able to know the process and understand the process of dyeing, and then be able to build on that to make something that was our own and different.
Yeah.
So she was probably the biggest help.
Yes, Felicia's amazing dyer in her own right, but she's so generous with her time too.
She is, and I'm at H&H next week. So we'll be at H&H, which is a trade show for wholesale. So we'll be exhibiting there next week in Chicago, and our booth is directly next to hers. So little intimidating, but Sweet Georgia will be there. So we're excited to be able to exhibit next to her in person.
Oh yeah, and meet her in person too.
Yep.
She's a sweet lady. She's really a sweet lady. So that's exciting. Okay, so what inspires your colorways?
So our colors are primarily inspired, solely inspired by the outdoors, I'd say. So growing up in the Rocky Mountains and spending pretty much all of our free time out hiking and backpacking and fly fishing and hunting, that's where most of our inspiration for our colors come from. So the Rocky Mountains, you'll see pretty much every one of our colors is named after something that you'd find in the Rocky Mountains. The only ones that are different are the Hawaiian colorways. So my wife, she graduated from college from BYU, Hawaii, which is on the island of Oahu, where Honolulu is, and she grew up. So she graduated there. It's right on the north shore of Oahu, and so a lot of our Hawaiian colors are hers. I'd like to say.
Oh, gotcha.
So tell me I want something like this, and I'll make it. So she's got the names for those. So you'll see like the Mokahana berry and the North Shore teal and the Hawaiian hibiscus. Those are her inspiration.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, does she dye with you, or are you the main dyer?
I do all the dyeing right now. She's got her hands full with the baby.
Wow.
I started doing this while she was, she would, had the baby. She was in the NICU with the baby, and I'd come home every night and I would dye yarn until I'd go back at 6 a.m. and spend the rest of the day with her. So she came home to a house full of yarn, not fully expecting, not knowing what to expect. I told her a little bit about what I was planning, and she's been so supportive. But a lot of the color names do come from my wife. She's very good. I think, it's funny in this business, the hardest thing is coming up with names for stuff. So,
yes. Even patterns.
We'll look at photos from our trips, and we'll try to come up with stuff that's creative and inspires us, because the color is inspiring too. But for us, the names really bring back so many memories to the places we've been and the things that we've done together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I read on your website that your kids get involved a little bit. Do they like help wind yarn, or what do they do?
They help skein yarn. They help unpackage things, hang up yarn and prepare it for dyeing. And my son is obsessed with the color names, and so he's been a big help in trying to memorize all those. And I love taking them to events with us too. So they're more than willing to help out. My son's learning how to knit. He's going to be helping with making the baby hats here pretty soon.
Wonderful.
We want to get them involved as much as possible.
Yeah, the family businesses. I mentioned to you before, my kids both know how to crochet. They both have put their hands in. Even now, they have both said, if I need help, they will come and help, whether it's at an event or stuff. So I'm really all about the family business.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. And starting young.
Yeah.
Starting young.
They're becoming obsessed. I have a new base that we got this last week. It's for me. I'm a total yarn snob, so the more luxurious the better. But we got some 100% baby alpaca in a sport weight. And before I could dye any of it, my 7-year-old, got her hands on it and rubbed it pretty much into a piece of felt. So she took a skein, and it was so soft and so light that she just couldn't stop it.
Well, that's a great segue. I was just about to tell you, let's do show and tell and talk about your bases and your colors. So let's just launch right into that. I know you need to move to show everybody everything, but show anything and everything, and I'll be watching for questions. So I'm going to put you on solo layout so everybody can see what's going on.
All right, I'll try to. I can't turn the camera, so I'll try to do this as best as I can. But I laid out a number of our colorways and different weights and different yarn bases. But obviously, let's start, I guess, with fingering weight, superwash, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. That's in every yarn world. 50% of yarn sold is this. So we've got that covered. It's 75% merino wool, 25% recycled nylon, and we make this in every single colorway that we have. So any colorway, we're going to make it in that because it sells and people love fingering weight yarn. What I like about fingering weight in general is if you need a DK or anything, you can take 2 strands of fingering and knit it or crochet it together with the DK and get really creative that way. So we've got a bunch of those. So you'll see I've got New Mexican olive, Russian olive here, our Douglas fir, Rosie Mountain paintbrush, probably one of our most popular colors, fall oak brush, elk harvest, Platte River silt, First Light. We have Indian paintbrush, the Hawaiian, North Shore teal, Colorado columbine. Alpine Lake and Blue Algae are 2 of our newer colors that have I can't keep them. They've been going way too fast.
Beautiful.
These are in that mini skein, one of those mini skein sets that's up there. So, and then we repeat all those colors in our worsted weight. So our worsted weight is 100% superwash merino wool. No nylon in it or anything. But it is superwash, so it's machine washable. But we have all the same colorways in that as well. And then we do a 100% superwash merino in a bulky. Bulky is not common for hand dyers to do, but we do enjoy dyeing bulky yarn because if you're making baby blankets or anything like that, it is a super popular thing. One thing I wanted to show, and hopefully I can get the light correct on here to show you the difference between these 3 different weights of yarn, both superwash merino, all in the same color. So these are all the same color recipe, but they do come out quite a bit different. And this is the reason you don't see a lot of people dye in bulky. This is the same recipe let me get it right, in 3 different weights. And you can see the variation is much greater in the heavier weight yarns than in the fingering weight. Which is one of the reasons a lot of people shy away from hand dyeing worsted weight or bulky weight, and I don't want to do that. So we make it all.
That's awesome.
And then we have something in pretty much every weight of yarn. So I've got we have a DK, which is our DK weight is 80% merino. I think it's 85% merino, 15% mulberry silk. So if you like something with a little bit of drape, especially among crocheters, I don't know why, because I don't know enough about crocheting, but this silky wool in the DK weight has been extremely popular with crocheters, and so has the we have a new sport weight, which is 50% bamboo, 50% merino. Gosh,
That's the one I'm eyeing.
trying to get this light correct, right? So
Yeah.
that's in the Colorado Columbine. It's real popular in the Rosie Mountain paintbrush as well. But this is so light, and the drape on this bamboo is excellent. All right, we have a couple. I've got a bunch of mini skeins, right? we're getting those mini skein sets already. But some of the new stuff that we've got is, like I had mentioned, that alpaca. So 100% baby alpaca. It is not superwash. I think I said sport weight, but this is actually a DK. So a DK weight. And so we've got that in a number of our colorways, like Calliope Hummingbird, Fall Oak Brush, Elk Harvest, some of our more popular ones. Our other brand new is a lace weight. I've been having people beg for a lace weight, so we just
Yes, that's me. I'm a lace weight girl.
So I only have it in a handful of colors today, but we're going to finish some of this up to get ready for H&H next week. But we're going to have that in every colorway that we offer as well.
And what's the base? What's the blend in that base?
I believe this is still superwash merino, so 100% superwash.
Okay.
But we've got that in a number of things. We have a sport weight that is Angora. So this is, I think it's 80-20. Yeah, 80% merino, 20% Angora rabbit. So if you like something with a little bit of a halo, let me see if I can get this pulled out a little bit. Invisible. You see that? Gives a little bit of a halo, but not quite as obnoxious as some other yarns when it comes to that. So
that's exciting.
That's a fun one. And then my favorite, this is the yarn that I make for me, and I don't care if anybody buys it. I'm going to make it because I use it. This is it's a merino wool, alpaca, and silk. And it's in a fingering weight. It's a light fingering weight, but this is my all-time favorite yarn that we make. And so hopefully I can get some good views of.
Okay, Danny, we kind of lost your voice there, so not sure what happened. I don't know if you can hear me.
Soon in pretty much every colorway.
Okay, we lost you there for a second.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that last base again, really quick?
So it's called Royal Select. It's a blend of merino wool, royal alpaca, and mulberry silk. It's a fingering weight, and we have it in tons of our colorways, and it will be available in every colorway here pretty soon. So we're still playing catch up with getting photos and everything up on the website because the stuff has grown so fast. So that's
a good problem to have. That's awesome. Okay. Well, let me, there's a couple questions here that have came through while you were doing show and tell. Laura asks, is there a weight you prefer to work with?
I love fingering weight. I love fingering weight because, like I said, you can double it up, you can triple it up and make it into just about anything. So if I'm somewhere and there's a yarn I love, I'll buy it in a fingering weight, even if I don't have a plan for it. If it's a different weight, I'm going to need a pattern before I even buy it. That's just for me. I do knit with a ton of worsted weight though, because I have kids and the hats and sweaters for kids and stuff in a superwash merino is an excellent way to go. So
okay. And Laura also asks if it was trial and error for your dye recipes.
That's a good question, and people ask how many mistakes that we have lying around that we'll never sell, and the answer is very few. I'm a very analytical person, so being in sales for a long time, I'm a huge numbers person, and I take a pretty methodical approach to anything I do. So we do acid dyes because we dye protein fibers, and So it's like using watercolors. And I have an arts background. That's what I went to school for. My dad's an artist. My grandma's an artist. Primarily oil paints and watercolors. And so I saw it as I could mix my dye powders into a dye stock solution and use it as a watercolor to come up with my colors. The interesting thing about that is when you mix those liquid dyes on paper with a paintbrush, you come up with a solid color. My dye process, though, is layered, so we don't dye solid colors. Now, they might look solid from a distance, but when you get up close or when you see something that is actually knit with those colors, you'll see the variation in the yarn. It's not, I don't enjoy knitting with variegated yarn, so I don't really make variegated, but if you look at a skein of our yarn, it might look like it's variegated, but when you knit it, you'll see it's more tonal, more of a pointillist effect than anything else. And so I want it to look like maybe teal from a distance, but when you're up close, I want you to be able to see all those colors in layers on the yarn itself. And so using that process, I was able to nail down pretty much the colors that I wanted to make before I even put any yarn in a tray of water. And so there's only a couple of times that we've had to make some skeins that we never repeated. But for the most part, we're pretty much, we dye the first try and we keep that recipe and we keep recreating it. So very methodical in that approach.
That's awesome. Okay. I want to just show everybody, this is one of the skeins that I bought in Loveland, and it's the fingering sock, the Champagne Powder Select with the recycled nylon in it. And it's the color Blue Mountain Harebell Light. I don't know if you can see that, but do you see the tonality in there? This is what made me pick this color, is that it's at a distance, it looks like a powder bluish color, but when you get close, you can see the layers of purple, and there's like a little bit of a minty color in there. And it's just, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's amazing. Amazing. And the other one I got, the same base, but this is Queen's Crown, and you can see the tonality in it. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yes,
So
you wouldn't really guess. Those are all layered in three different layers of color. So most hand dyers that I've run into will dye, semi-solid colors or variegated colors. Again, I'm not a huge fan of that. I want it to be something a little bit different. And so a lot of hand dyers will also dye straight from the dye stock solution. So when you buy dye from a company that makes dye, they might have 150 different colors that you can choose from. And so you can buy that dye powder and you can dye just in that straight color. So you can buy a mustard yellow and just dye it in a mustard yellow, and it'll come out with some tonal variations in it, but you're not going to have that layer of color. So rather than doing that, I didn't want to do that. We only have 5 base colors that we work from. So all of our colors will come by mixing those in different amounts, and not even just different amounts, but applying them in a different order to the yarn itself.
that's awesome. Okay. That's good to know. Not a lot of people do it that way. I mean, everybody I've talked to, either does the pouring or the speckle dye, or, I don't hear that. There's a couple people we've talked to here that layer, but not very many. So that's awesome to hear. And to only use 5 base colors, that's unique. That's amazing. Okay. We got another question from Kelly asking, what's the name of your bamboo base?
It's real complicated. It's bamboo.
Okay, Kelly.
I do apologize. So that baby alpaca we showed and the lace, we just started dyeing those this week. So those are also not on the website. But by the end of the weekend, I expect to have everything up there.
Okay, cool. Because that's what I was eyeing. I mean, when I looked at your bases, I did see that you had a bamboo, but I didn't see it on the website. So I'm excited about that. I'm excied about the lace weight though too, because that's my sweet spot. Lace and fingering weight are what I design with the most. I mean, I will use a worsted every once in a while and a DK once in a while, but I love lace and fingering. So, but that's my Italian background.
Yeah, it's a true too. It's not a heavier. It's a select lace weight, so it's a true lace weight. It's so
Oh, see, that's what hard to find these days. Oh, I'm excited. Now, are all your bases made in the US or are they sourced from other countries?
we buy them from a U.S. company, but they're sourced out of Peru. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so Judy says so many great bases going to break the bank making an order. So lots I love. Stephanie, I have a feeling it's a good thing for my wallet that I don't see you on the vendor list this year at Dallas Fort Worth Fiber Fest.
We were just talking about it, and we're so, we're new to doing these in-person events. We're slowly learning which ones are important to be at, and I do have a plan to be at DFW, but only if they have space still. So we're gonna try to get in there, and if we can't, we'll be there next year.
Stephanie, you and I are going to be in trouble if he shows up there.
But
I'm
we will
actually going to be in Lancaster, so.
Yeah, we'll be in Lancaster the first week of August, and right before that, we'll be in Kelly, Oklahoma, at the Christmas, I think Christmas in July fiber something in Kelly, Oklahoma.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah,
Haven't heard about that. Now, are you going to be in Houston? I know Houston Fiber Fest is coming.
not on our list. With being at H&H next week, that's going to take up most of our free
Yeah.
shows. So hopefully we'll come back from there with plenty of wholesale orders to
I
keep.
think that's amazing. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Stephanie. Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, he's going to be in Lancaster, so I might be coming home with a lot from Lancaster too. So, okay. Let's see. You answered a lot of these questions I have for you. If you guys have questions, make sure to type a Q and a space, and then the question so that I can ask him. Let's talk about your shop. How do you do color updates? How do you do? Is it dye to order? Is it you dye up a bunch, put it on the website? How do you work with your shop online?
Yeah, so everything we do is dye to order. I do not keep inventory of our colorways. I do for shows, but if you order it from our website, I'm not pulling it from our show inventory. It's going to be dyed for you. And
Awesome.
I want to make sure that your dye lot is your dye lot. I try to make sure when you order it, the dye lot isn't going to be a number. If you ordered it, the dye lot will be your last name. So just want to make sure that if you order it, it's what you expected. And I don't want to.
Okay. Oh, that's
I don't
cool
want to be
to
making
know.
all that stuff. Yep.
That's good to know because a lot of people like to order like blanket quantities or sweater quantities. And that way, I mean, it's easier to make sure that, I mean, you're still going to have to deal with blending maybe a little bit, but not as much as with when you're just pulling off the shelf.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And that was the main thing is I've had that problem before myself, and I wanted to make sure it was more personal. And we're normally dyeing the next day. So if you order it, our studio is in our garage. Our large 2-car garage is turned into an entire dye studio with industrial size ovens, and we can crank out hundreds of skeins a day. So it's not like you're waiting 2 weeks to get your yarn. We'll dye it and ship it next day. The only caveat is if we're at an event.
Right.
Like, so if you order it today, I can have it shipped tomorrow. But if you ordered it Friday, I'll be in Chicago for a week, so it'll take a week for me to get back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you use your garage. I was just going to ask that question. Are there any plans at all to hire extra help? Because after H&H,
Yep.
you're probably going to need some extra help.
Exactly. Yeah. So the 14-hour days are have to come to an end. It's been working my regular job, so I'll come home usually around 5 o'clock, and then I'm doing this business probably until 2 a.m. And so I'm excited not to have to do that anymore, but we fully anticipate coming back from H&H and having to hire a couple of folks. So we've got some older high school kids at church who we know would be a great help out here. So that's the
That's
plan.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so exciting for me. I mean, to know that you started selling your yarn in February and you're already at this point is amazing to me. I think that's providential in a lot of different ways. And I think by giving back after what you've been through, to me, that's a providential thing. So it's exciting.
Yeah,
That's
thank
so
you.
exciting. Okay, Laura asks, how do you decide on which fiber festivals to attend and travel for?
A lot of it was I spent a ton of time in Loveland talking to other vendors and trying to build relationships and just finding out which ones um, have the most attendees and which ones will fit our schedule and if there's a place we want to go. Now, it turns out the vast majority of fiber festivals are in the Midwest and East Coast. Out here in the West, there's not much. Um,
Yeah.
but we got a camper so that I can be on the road and go anywhere I want to go and not have to worry about hotels and all that. So we plan on traveling the entire country over the next couple years. Until we got into H&H next week, we were supposed to be next week. The next 2 weeks was supposed to be a trip back through Colorado, back through home, and then to California, and then up to Oregon and back down through Idaho and Wyoming. But H&H kind of took over that. So,
Yeah.
so we'll have Chicago next week, and then we'll be Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and then hopefully we'll throw Dallas in there, and then probably up to New York in October. So.
Well, I have two festivals for you in the West
Yeah.
Coast that you should go to. One is Fiber Fusion Northwest. It's always the first weekend in June, and it's just north of Seattle, in Monroe, Washington.
I'm going to write it down.
Fiber Fusion Northwest. I was supposed to be there last weekend, and I had to cancel, but it's a great event. It's a really great event. And then the second one is Black Sheep Fiber.
So we're
in
supposed to be
Oregon.
at Black Sheep Fiber. That's next weekend.
Yeah.
But it starts the first day. So we paid for a booth and everything. That was going to be our trip up to Oregon.
Okay, got you.
At Black Sheep, but H&H took priority.
Okay.
So H&H ends the day that Black Sheep starts. And
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
get over there in time.
There's also Oregon Flock and Fiber.
Okay.
You might want to look at too. That's, I think, in the fall sometime. I can't remember exactly the dates on those. But those are the three that over here, at least in the Pacific Northwest, I would recommend.
Yeah, we got to build it up out here in the West Coast and the Southwest.
Yeah, the West Coast is interesting. And they're outside of Boise, there's one that's trying to get started. I cannot think of the name of it right now. But there's one outside of Boise that's trying to get started. And then there's a yarn shop in Moscow, Idaho, which is just on the other side of the border from where my daughter went to college. And she loves hand dyers. I can give you her name later, but yeah,
Sure.
Something to think about too. Oh, good. Carrie, you went to Fiber Fusion. That's awesome. Awesome. I'm glad it was fun. I'm so bummed I couldn't be there this year. I'm really bummed. Okay, so guys, for those of you who came in late, I want Danny to talk about our giveaway here. I forgot to do this a little bit earlier, so I'm going to do it now. We're going to do a giveaway. So, and I want him to talk about it first, and then we'll show us what he's giving away, and then we'll I'll put up the code word.
Yeah, so I'll go back across the room. So giveaway is one of those mini skein gradient sets. So we've got it in fingering weight options, and I'll ship it in worsted weight if you like to. So the options right now are Calliope Hummingbird colorway, Blue Algae, Rosy Mountain Paintbrush, North Shore Teal, or Hawaiian Hibiscus. So we'll give away one of those. Total of 100 grams, 440 yards of our. That's the base. There is the Champagne Powder Select. So the 75/25 merino wool nylon.
Okay. So for everybody who's interested in entering to win, I'm going to put this back up on the screen. You're going to type in hashtag gritty. And if you're if you are live, you can go ahead and enter to win. And we're only giving away to live people, live watchers. So if you're watching this after the fact, unfortunately, the giveaway has already been done. So go ahead and type in hashtag gritty. Carrie asked about what H&H is. H&H is a wholesale show basically for shops and makers and things like that. Unfortunately, I can't make that one either, but it's happening in Chicago this year. So that's what that is.
Yeah, so it's not, we're not selling to consumers, we're selling to yarn shop owners, designers. So I'm not sure how many vendors there are. There's probably 50 vendors at least. And it's not just yarn. You'll have knitting needle companies, crochet needle companies. You'll have designers and people launching books. All kinds of making, sewing and quilting and all that. But it's put on by a company called Messe. So in Cologne, Germany, they're based out of, and they have the largest trade show in the industry in Cologne, Germany every year.
Yes, they do.
And the second largest one is in America. So it's H&H Americas.
Right.
They do here. And this, I think, is the third year that they've done it here.
Yeah.
So,
and if you've ever heard of the National Needlework Association, they used to do these events as well. And from what I understand, they're coming back in 2023. They're supposed to be relaunching that. So I don't think they'll get to the H&H size again. They used to be the biggest one in the United States. So if you've ever heard of TNNA or the National Needlework Association, that it's the same idea.
Yeah.
For those of you.
It should be fun. I think they have something like 5,000 attendees that have registered to come to the event. So that's, knit and yarn shop owners, designers, authors, makers. So it'll be a good event.
Yeah, I was just like, I thought Carrie put up something about the event, but I don't see it here. Oh, here it is. Carrie put up. The Pacific Northwest Yarny Social is the one Dana and I are trying to start. Okay, that's the one. So that's the one in Idaho, right, Carrie? Am I right with that? Okay. Let's see. I love the colors on the Rocky Mountain Sunset. Oh yeah, show us some of your samples. I know you had a couple there.
Okay, yeah. So that she's talking about, we have a mini skein set that comes with a pattern to make our Rocky Mountain Sunset hat. And at our live shows that we go to, yarn festivals, this is probably our most popular thing. And it's let's see, I've got them all here so I can show you what the kit looks like. It was our first mini skein set. So it's these 5 colors come together to make that hat. So it's the Platte River Silt, Blue Spruce, Douglas Fir, Rosie Mountain Paintbrush, and First Light. And so like on that kit comes with the pattern to make the hat. It's not crochet. Everybody asks if it's crochet. It is knit. And I don't have a pattern in crochet. We also have a matching sock kit to make the same pattern with socks. Because
that's cool. I didn't see the sock. That's awesome.
So we have that in both options. Those are up on the website. And the new kit, pattern kit that we'll have, so knit kit, will be our owl hat. So if I can get that. So it's cabled owls in a beanie. And we'll have kits for that up as well next week. That'll be something that we showcase at H&H. This was one of the first videos I put up on my YouTube channel, is the instructional video for this pattern. And so finally it comes full circle and we have a kit for it. Okay,
awesome. Okay, so I have his YouTube channel there so that you guys can look him up as well. And he also is on Facebook. I'm going to put that up there as well. And I'm going to go ahead and put the website up also. So, okay. So before I do the drawing, I want to let you guys know that he is We are also, he's giving us a coupon code. And the coupon code, let me take this off, is for 15% off through the end of June using the code Huli15. So if you're planning to order, make sure you save your 15% with Huli15 as the code. And is that for one item or is that for the entire order?
Entire
How's
order.
Entire order? Okay. There you go,
And
guys.
it's active until the end of the month.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so there you go for that, because I know you guys were waiting for that. Anybody else have any questions for Daniel before I do the drawing? Oh, I saw a bunch of comments. Hang on. So one thing about being a one-woman show here is that
Right.
I have to go back and forth between things. Okay, so Carrie says that the show in Boise is September 7th through the 9th. She also says your fades are stunning. I'm definitely going to check out your shop. And Laura said, thank you for the code. Oh, I should also ask Laura, you just reminded me. You mentioned that you have a wholesale. Obviously, these are going to H&H. I do have Kelly who works for a yarn shop. And Laura, do you still own your yarn shop? I thought you did, but I thought you were going mobile, but remind me about that. But could you talk about your wholesale process, how that all works? So, because I know Kelly will go back to her shop and talk to them.
Yeah, so wholesale, there is a link on our website, or there is a page on our website with some wholesale details. And if you fill that out, I'll send you the entire contract. But so wholesale is, it's taken a lot of learning because it's not something I've ever done before. So if we have someone who does sign up for our wholesale program, they have to sell it out of their brick and mortar shop. They can sell it on their website too, but they have to have own a brick and mortar shop to be able to do wholesale. For our new wholesale clients, we have a minimum order of $1,000 for their first order. There are no minimums after that, so they can replace and refill colors, backfill colors as needed. They don't have to wait till they have to have a big order. And wholesale pricing is a little different based on different circumstances, but essentially it's about a 40% savings when they're buying in bulk for wholesale.
Okay, and do you do trunk shows at all?
So I didn't know what a trunk show was until March this year, because someone here in Rio Rancho had found our website and ended up calling me and asking if I do a trunk show, and she had to describe what that was for me. So we will do trunk shows depending on the travel to get out there. The first one we did was here in our house. So we had some local knitting groups that had contacted us and wanted us to bring our yarn. I said, why don't you just come out to the house and I'll show you the dye studio and do a demonstration. And we had all our yarn set up. And so we'll do that. I think our next one is back in Flagstaff. So we just got back from Flagstaff last week. So we'll be going back out there for a trunk show. So yeah, if they want to send me an email, they can. We can see if we can make something work. Okay.
Anybody else have questions? I just saw Linda said that owl hat is so cute. She liked that.
Thank you. That was for my daughter initially, and then my wife, of course, wanted one. So now we have several of them around the house. But
it is really cute. I always like the owl with the button eyes. I think those are so cute. Anybody else before I do the drawing? Okay. I'm going to give you guys a countdown really quick. Remember, it's #gritty. Now, what'll happen is once a winner is drawn, what I'm going to have you do is go to my website and shoot me an email using at the bottom of my screen. There is the need help icon. You're going to click on that and there'll be a contact form that comes up. Go ahead and put your information in, your email address, and then I will forward that over to Danny so that the two of you can connect and you can tell them what colors you want and also what base you would like the kit. So I'm going to go ahead and type in hashtag gritty if you haven't already. I'm going to count backwards to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to go. Let's see who wins. Carrie, congratulations. Carrie, you are our winner. So, Carrie, you know the drill. So go ahead and shoot me an email using that contact form, and I will connect the two of you. So congratulations.
Wonderful. Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. Okay. So, I'm thinking, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about what's going on, or any plans you have coming up, the future projects or kits, or if you're going to do Advent kits or anything like that some of the dyers do?
We don't have any plans in place yet for that, or a monthly club or anything. We got to get everything posted on our website first. So we're still playing catch up, and I'm sure in the future we'll have some programs and be able to do some Advent. I know the Advent stuff is pretty cool, so that takes a lot of creativity, so I got to be able to sit down and wrap my head around that. But I'm excited to be able to do some programs like that.
Well, it sounds like you guys are just taking off, and that's amazing. And I'm really excited for you guys. And I'm really excited. I told you already, I have a project idea for this already, and I definitely would like to collaborate in the future. So
absolutely,
we will definitely be chatting about that. But anybody else have a question before I let Danny go? And I'll let you guys have a sip of my coffee here real quick.
Yeah.
I can feel my throat going here. Okay, you guys are so quiet all of a sudden. You guys were chatting, and now we're so quiet. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you go then.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make sure you hang out for a second before I close the show. Oh, Dan, he's a contact form on his website. So make sure you
get
use
that on the website, but it's Danny@knittinggritty.com or Danny@knittygrittyfiberarts.com. Both of them work.
Okay.
Yeah. Knittinggritty.com is our blog that we started a couple years back.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story and your yarns and everything. So, and the code and the giveaway. So we're excited to have you here. Good luck next week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But I'll let you hang out for a minute and while I close up the show, and then I'll be back to chat.
All right,
with you.
great.
So, Carrie, make sure you go ahead and send me an email. I'm going to go ahead and let Danny go here really quick. Let me take him off. Okay, there we go. So, Carrie, make sure you shoot me an email or a note on my contact form. And everybody, thank you for being here. Make sure you don't forget to use the code. I'm going to put that back up here really quick at the end of the show. I am not going to put this in the show notes because I want people to actually watch the videos these days. So it's not going to be in the show notes. So if you want to use this, make sure you write it down, or you watch the video or fast forward to the end and you can see it. For those of you who are watching live. So anyway, if there's not any more questions, I will see you guys for sure on the 28th for my monthly live stream chat. I don't have a topic yet. I think I have a topic actually, but it's not confirmed yet that that's going to be the topic. But I wanted to let you know I will definitely be there for that. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. And I will see you next time. Bye now.